ladies and gentlemen, to today's tutorial. Last time we met, we looked at the muscles that form the anterior compartment of the forearm, which were known as the flexors. Now today we are looking at muscles that form the posterior. Posterior compartment. Forearm. Now, those muscles are known as extensors. Extensors. Now, these group of muscles are organized into two. We have the superficial group. We have the deep group. The superficial group, we have at least 7 of them. With the deep group, having about 4 of them. So by way of introduction, let's take this to be this is the posterior aspect of the forearm, and this is the medial epicondyle. That one is more prominent. This is the lateral epicondyle, and the lateral epicondyle can also be called common extensor origin. So that's where most of the superficial muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm will take origin from. Now, before we look at that one, there is a muscle which there is some kind of uncertainty as regards whether we should call it an extensor or a flexor, because at the end of the day it takes origin from the superior aspect of the lateral supracondylar ridge. Now, this muscle comes all the way and inserts into the styloid process of the radius. So that muscle is known as brachioradialis. Brachioradialis muscle. Now, just because it is a flexor, only that it's supplied by what we call the radial nerve. And the posterior compartment of the forearm, the muscles, the extensors, actually supplied by radial nerve. So it makes it, we want to try and consider it under the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. Now, apart from this, there is another muscle, this time around taking origin from the lower aspect, of the lateral supracondylar ridge, and comes all the way and inserts on the proximal all the way and sets on the base of the first metacarpal, second metacarpal. That muscle is known as extensor carpi radialis longus. Or from a higher origin, comes to be set at the base of the second metacarpal. Metacarpal, in fact, the posterior aspect of the base of the second metacarpal. Now, another muscle which takes origin from this time around, the common extensor origin, comes all the way and inserts to the base of the third metacarpal is known as extensor carpi radialis brevis. Now, these two muscles, because of inserting the posterior aspect of the second and third, bases of metacarpals, we saw in the flexor compartment that there was flexor carpi radialis. So these two muscles are antagonists to flexor carpi radialis that we saw. As flexor carpi radialis is going to do what we call palmar flexion, then extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis will do what we call dorsiflexion. Therefore, they are antagonists. But in the same vein, they are synergists. The reason being that they are both are inserting to either the anterior aspect or the posterior aspect of the base of second and third metacarpals, and therefore they help in what we call radial deviation of the wrist. Although they are antagonists as far as dorsiflexion and palmar flexions are concerned. Now, the other muscle, which takes origin from the common extensor origin, comes and a tendon divides into 4 to the fingers. Now, this muscle is known as extensor digitorum. Now, remember that we don't have extensor digitorum, longus or brevis or profundus and then superficial, just extensor digitorum. So it tells us that it inserts at both the middle and the distal phalanges. So that's how the insertion happens. So that's extensor digitorum. Now, from the same common flexor origin, there is another muscle. This time around going to the little finger. Okay, and this muscle is known as extensor digiti minimi. Now, some people are of the view that the extensor digiti minimi is just an accessory muscle, just coming from the extensor digitorum portion of it. Yes, so because there's an additional muscle for extension of the little finger. There's an additional muscle to that effect. Now, the next muscle takes origin from the same common extensor origin, comes all the way, and this time around inserts to the base of the 5th metacarpal. So to the base of the 5th, this time around the posterior aspect of the base of the 5th metacarpal. This is known as extensor carpi ulnaris. So remember that we saw previously that there was flexor carpi ulnaris in the anterior compartment of the forearm. Now, if you have extensor carpi ulnaris and this, it means they are antagonists. As extensor carpi ulnaris is doing palmar flexion, then what happens is that extensor carpi ulnaris will be doing dorsiflexion. They are antagonists. But in the same way, because they are both inserting to the base of the 5th metacarpal, either anteriorly or posteriorly, then what happens is that they are also working in synergy in ulnar deviation of the wrist. Yes, so far these are the muscles we have. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we saw also, that muscle that we saw, the radialis, making a 6. And then there is another muscle this time around which takes origin from the posterior aspect, which I can show you here now. From the posterior aspect of the olecranon process, and inserts to the posterior aspect of the common extensor origin, common extensor origin. So from the common extensor origin, the posterior aspect of the common extensor origin, that's the lateral epicondyle, all the way to the posterior aspect of the olecranon. There's another muscle known as anconeus. Anconeus muscle. Now, even deeper to these muscles, there is another muscle which I can show you now, and that one is known as that muscle takes origin from the common extensor origin, alright, and it also takes origin from the posterior aspect of the ulna and inserts to the proximal one-third anterior lateral and posterior aspect of the radius, and that muscle is known as supinator muscle. Supinator muscle. So at least, as I said, there should be at least 7 of them. We've seen these are the muscles. So these are the superficial group of the extensor muscles. Now we go to the deep group. Let's look at the deep group briefly. The deep group of the extensor muscles. And muscles. But we've seen that the deep group, they are going to be 4 in number. But this time around, because they are deep, they will be taking origin from a little bit lower level. The lower level. So assuming this is the radius and this is the ulna, there will be that kind of interosseous membrane between them. Now the first muscle, which takes origin from the interosseous membrane as well as the neighboring bones and inserts all the way, comes and inserts to the base of the first metacarpal. Is known as abductor pollicis longus. Because the term is the pollicis, so it's going to help abduct. Take it away. Abduct from the rest of the part. Abductor pollicis longus. Now the next muscle, which takes origin from a little bit lower level. From the radius in the adjoining interosseous membrane, and comes and inserts to the base of the proximal phalanx, is known as flexor pollicis brevis, which is a short muscle, flexor pollicis brevis, because it's coming from the radius, the adjoining interosseous membrane, all the way to the base of the proximal phalanx. Now, one from almost the same level, but this time around from the ulna, because it comes all the way from the ulna side, coming all the way, but turning around where we saw the dorsal tubercle of Lister's tubercle. So the Lister tubercle is served as an anatomical pulley to this muscle, and this muscle is the longer muscle. Therefore, we call it flexor pollicis longus. Now, this area between the flexor pollicis longus medially and the flexor pollicis brevis laterally is known as the anatomical snuff box. Those times, people used to put, snuff there and sniff it. So that's the anatomical snuff box. Now the last muscle of this is an additional muscle, from even a lower level, the adjoining interosseous membrane, all the way to the index finger, and this muscle is known as extensor indicis. So to the index finger. So it means there are additional tendons for extension of the little finger, which is in the superficial loop, and for the index finger in the deep groove. Ladies and gentlemen, all these extensors of the forearm are supplied by what we call radial nerve, and we will go to the hand in our next section. Thank you.